There we are. Hey, man, how's it been?
Hey, good, Chris. How you doing?
All right. Yeah, of course. Now that we get on live, now that's when my camera starts acting up.
That's usually how it works.
We'll let her play as it goes. So hey, we've met before. But why don't you tell everybody else about you, who you are, what you're doing?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm S.A. Check. I'm an author and a writer. I've worked in various comic book enterprises, and I do some prose writing that I have a handful of novels out also. So Chris and I met through a program called Booktopia. I think we're going to talk about a little more here as we move along.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from southwestern Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. I grew up in the area. I have all my ties here in the area. I went to Penn State University. I have a degree in English, and I live here with my family, a wife and a daughter, and I've been a comic book nerd all my life, and the word's got me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there with being all. I got stabbed over a comic book once.
Really?
And, yeah. I don't tell that story often, but a friend of mine, we were sitting at the table arguing about comics, of course, at the lunch table in school, and this guy stood up, took a pencil, jabbed it right into my collar, but right in. I mean, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who ended up with the comic book? That's the question. Or it was an argument over a comic book.
It was an argument over it. Yeah, like what happened in it and everything else. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember what the argument was about. I just remember pulling the pencil out and going, "You mother!" And then.
Yeah, no, I think I've had some of my best friends, some of the ones involved still with what I do. Yeah, we've had some pretty good arguments and fights over comic books before. So someday we'll tell the story of the Amazing Spider-Man. We used to go to flea markets when I was a kid, swap meets, and he'd go with me. And as you're looking through boxes of comic books, and you're looking in each other's comic book boxes, and then sometimes they got the better deal. And yeah, we've had some knockdown dragouts over those before, but yeah, you laugh now. Hopefully you still laugh about getting stabbed. Are you still friends with the guy?
I was, yeah, until we graduated and he moved off. But yeah, we were friends for a while. I mean, what are you gonna? It happens. It's nothing to get angry about. After that, we were fine. But what still gets, what gets me angry, bud?
What's that?
My dad told me one time that when they used to buy comic books, it used to come in the 3-packs, and each one had like Spider-Man 1, X-Men 1, and then it had a third one. They would buy those packs for the third one and throw the X-Men and Spider-Man in the garbage. Oh my good Lord Jesus, I almost killed him.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, you hear war stories all the time over the ones that got away that just make you cringe.
Yeah, I used to have a ton of the Spawn #1s the Image #1s in general.
Sure.
And sure enough, didn't a crackhead that we were living with take everything and freaking hawked it for an 8-ball? That person I beat the crap out.
There might have been stabbing on that also.
It was close. We almost made that Shanty Red, but hey, way to segue into that one.
Wow, that was one smooth segue.
Right off the Grand Canyon. Did you hear about that? The guy that made the Segway died on the Segway at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, oh my gosh, we only have like 15 days left of this.
I know, it's going fast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
This whole project's been a bit of a blur, which is kind of fun in a way. And I want to hear a little more about Slaughterville as we go through this. But with Shanty Red, it's a book that I had in the dark corners of my mind for probably the last couple of years. Concentrating a lot on comics. I just haven't been doing a lot of prose. And when Booktopia came around, American Mythology, the company that I do the vast majority of my comic work with, said, why don't you do a prose novel? I said, sure. When do you need it by? And they said, well, it starts next month. So we were off and running with Shanty Red. So, but sometimes I think, and you're a writer, so you understand that sometimes that's the inspiration you need to get a project going.
Yeah, it's sometimes if you have too much time, you're willing to put it off.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go any further, if there are any of the guys or gals from Madness or anybody else wants to stop in, hit me up. I still have my Facebook thing up. Did I freeze?
I don't think.
Okay, good. But anyway, I still have the Facebook up. If you want to hit me up with it, I'll drop you the link and you can come on in. You can ask questions and do what we do best. But yeah, so this is something that I thought I was honestly, when I was looking through, I didn't know who they were going to pair me with, and I'm not that guy to go out and like just ask. And so I was kind of glad when they paired me with this one because I was looking at this cover, the one on the left here,
Yeah.
and the paperback, and that's the one that drew me in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be getting this one no matter what.
Yeah, no, that's a cover by Roy Martinez, who's just a phenomenal artist. And when we were doing this, there were certain aspects of the cover that that I wanted to make sure we incorporated, and he put it all together perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better representation of what I was hoping for that cover, and the other cover was put together by one of the designers for American mythology, Jay Spence, and that cover is equally as creepy in its own way, just minimally.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I didn't know about the other picture, but as soon as I saw this one, I knew this was going to be because we had to work out what we were going to do as far as our collaboration.
Right.
And I knew that was going to be a card in the board game. As soon as I saw that picture, that one had to be in.
Yeah, it's a great photo, and there's certain aspects of it, and I try, and you know this yourself, as a writer, you don't want to give away the whole story because
Mm-hmm.
adventure and the journey, but I think the cover gives some hints to what's inside and what it's leading to. So I think it's a great mix of obvious signs, and after you read the story and you read the book and you go and you look at the cover, I think other things come out and make more sense to you why it's there. So, which has always been the sign of a strong cover for me.
Sure. Now I know the pitch for it because I've looked at this quite a few times. How about you give it to everybody out here? What's this all about?
Well, basically, Shanty Red is a bit of historical horror fiction, and my quick tagline has been "Small town living meets big town terror." And what it centers on is I base it in the town of Paw Paw, West Virginia, which was really a catalyst for me for this story. And I've been through Paw Paw. And there's different Paw Paw, West Virginias, believe it or not. There's different Paw Paws in different states, but Paw Paw, West Virginia in particular, I've been through this town before, and I love the name. It was just something that always drew me in. So after I discovered Paw Paw, West Virginia, I discovered the Paw Paw Tunnel, which is just an area outside of Paw Paw, and it's this fantastic old tunnel that's part canal and part walkway, that you can actually still walk all the way through. And I love the mixture of those two, the waterway and the walkway together. This tunnel's 3,100 feet. So I used that to base the story. I love a good monster story. So with the story in Shanty Red, we're in West Virginia. We're in a mining community, which I took some liberties there too, but we get to do that as authors. And I have the people in Paw Paw growing more violent toward each other and killing one another. And I have some central characters to come into the story Hardly Owens, who's a young boy who gets displaced after his family is torn apart by COVID and some other factors. He finds himself in Paw Paw, West Virginia, with some extended family. And they see these things going on, this rise in violence, neighbors fighting with neighbors, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And the backstory to it, without giving the whole thing away, obviously, is this has been going on since the mid 1800s, and there's something that's been hunting and killing the people of Paw Paw, West Virginia, that finally comes to light in the mixed story. So a little bit mystery, a little bit horror, a little bit monster. I'm a big fan of monster horror stories, and that's where we ended up.
Nice. I like the quotes that I'm reading as I'm going through here. I've been chuckling.
Yeah, it's the one that I don't know. I think I had that quote before I started even writing the book. Was there's evil in that shitter. I for some reason I fell in love with that line, and I think I might have based the character that says it around that line. So, but that happens sometimes, and that's okay. We draw inspiration from lots of different places.
So Jack's saying loves the quote. Is there a story behind it?
A story behind there's evil in that shitter.
Yep.
Well, once again, with the area, I'm from southwestern Pennsylvania, so you know, I grew up in patch towns and coal mining communities where there were still traces of outhouses throughout the region, which always kind of fascinated me. And with the story that I set and the creature that ends up developing, the tunnels and the mines and what lies beneath, I guess that would be a good way to put it, plays a big factor into the story. So it'll the shanties, the outhouses, the what lies below, that whole motif plays strong in the whole story. So.
Nice. A good underground mystery, things that because again, plays real heavy on the claustrophobia. It's all good fun there.
I think so.
Because you said, I was looking through, and this is one of the inspirations, the tunnel.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's for those of you that haven't been there, it's something to see. And what I love about it, to be able to write a story like this, I'm a reader, and I think like any writer is, you enjoy reading and the stories that take you away. To take it to the step of becoming a writer, you immerse yourself in your own worlds that encompasses months of your life. To tie it into actual places, physical events, and towns. We took a day trip, and I've been to Paw Paw, like I said, several times through there, but to be able to go to the tunnel in the midst of doing something like this and writing this story, it had a real impact on the way I looked at everything.
They can read the first chapter right here. Yeah, we are part of the Booktopia event until September 26th. Now oh Jesus, God, get that one out of there.
That was at Harrisburg.
Yeah.
At a Comic-Con, go figure.
Yeah, I know, right? And you're like 6'12" or something like that, 9'3".
Yeah, that is entirely accurate. Yeah, exaggeration. Yeah.
None at all. I don't believe in it. I've never exaggerated.
No, we're writers. We don't.
Exactly. So you've been doing this for quite a while.
Yes.
You've had a lot of different, and I'll admit I'm a horror guy, of course, but there was something I thought was really cool that you also did the comedies.
Yeah, I've done a lot of all ages comics, and I enjoy those also.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've got to work on some really classic, some what I like to call legacy characters.
Mm-hmm.
The Three Stooges are one of my all-time favorites that I still work on to today, and we
Yeah.
still have comics coming out. That's something I've been extremely proud of in my writing career. On one of the previous images, we did a Three Stooges meet Laurel and Hardy comic
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago, which brought together two just wonderful classic comedy groups that I got to incorporate into the same comic book and develop a story around, which was phenomenal for me.
Mm-hmm.
Pink Panther, Underdog, um, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Uh, these are all books that I've enjoyed working on in different aspects. As much as I enjoy horror, there's something really satisfying in doing all ages books too.
Mm-hmm. You did Stargate?
I did. I participated in the Stargate anthology book that we did with Atlantis and Universe.
Nice.
Did a couple of those short stories there.
I've been trying to get that license to make a board game for Stargate for so long. They are very, very rough to get. So it's good that you got those, that you got to do that. This is the one I need to get from you, without a doubt.
Okay.
I need to get this one. Once I saw the virtual paranormal investigator, I'm like, I need to see what that is.
Yeah, that was a fun book. I don't think I've always tried to, every book that I've done, I've tried to have it as a finished story, a closed story, but I've always tried to leave them open too for possible second stories.
Of course, that's the best way to do it. Let's see, what else did we have here from you? We had, was there one thing that you want to write that you haven't yet?
License wise,
yeah.
I don't know that. No, I don't know that I have a white whale out there as far as licensed properties. I've been pretty lucky ones that I've worked on, and I've been pretty amazed with things that we've come out with. That the sandboxes that I've gotten to play in. There's still, I mean, there's some major horror properties that I'd love to share my take on. There's probably some outlying properties that I've chased that while I would have liked to worked on, sometimes it just doesn't happen, and that's part of it.
Right. Mine personally is Conan. If I get if I get half a chance, I would kill someone to write a Conan book.
No, really? Okay.
Yeah. I grew up with him, and that's something I've always wanted. But yeah, these projects seem to be going pretty well. Let's see what your pledge levels here are. So you have the digital.
We're so close.
Yes, it is not that far off. It'll get there. It's not far off. 95%. So, I mean, somebody sneezes and it's gonna go. So I mean.
Yeah, no, we're not quite halfway into it, so I'm comfortable with where we are. But yeah, actually, to be that close, yeah, no, we need to bump it over. And there's some very very cool stretch goals that I know American Mythology is planning with this, so hopefully some of those.
Tell me about American Mythology.
Well, American Mythology has been around, I'm going to say, for about 10 years now. It's a comic book publishing company based out of Maryland. One of the main gentleman running American Mythology is James Cohoric. James and I have known each other practically all our lives. James himself is a comic book writer. He's done a lot of original and licensed properties himself, but he spearheaded American mythology, and the company. I mean, it's just as a writer for me. Jim does a lot of the business end of it, so he gets a lot of the headaches. But on the creative end of it, I mean, I've gotten to work on so many cool projects over the last 10 years within those walls that it's been fantastic. We've definitely taken a stronger turn toward horror
Mm-hmm.
in the last several years. We kind of one of the big things with American mythology that we've always said is it's comics for fans by fans, which Jim's one of the guys that I was digging through comic book boxes with back in the flea market back when we were kids. So we both grew up on comics. We both still collect. We both still talk comics. There's times that him and I can have an hour-long conversation about comics, and we never mention the business side of it.
Right.
The release. I'm surrounded by comics right now. I picked that's a Sergeant Fury #2. I picked that up very cheap. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean I guess that's kind of part of it. Is it has to be something you love and something you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are. There's a lot of great things with American mythology coming up. We have some really cool horror properties that I'm pretty sure folks are going to enjoy. Some licensed material and some more original stuff. I enjoy both. I really do. To be able to work on some of these properties that I never thought I'd ever work on.
Mm-hmm.
Been fantastic. But it's nice
Yeah.
to come up with original things here and again.
Oh, of course. I see you have Night of the Living Dead and Silent Night, Deadly Night up as add-ons. Willy's Wonderland.
Mm-hmm. Those are all projects I've worked on. Look, Night of the Living Dead, granddaddy of horror.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all that was all licensed. These are all licensed properties that we've worked through. With Night of the Living Dead, I got to work on 2 sets of stories. The first set was Revenants, where we stepped outside of the original Romero story and tried to have some fun with some side stories leading up to the farmhouse.
Right.
And then with Kin, I guess back to West Virginia. That one's set in a place called Purgatory, West Virginia, where we just told a different story from a different perspective from a mountain family on the same night as the original movie. So, and just as a writer, fantastic, phenomenal to be able to work in those worlds. Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm a child of the '80s, so
Right.
that was a classic. Willy's Wonderland. What a great time we had on that. Joe Parsons, the guy that created Willy's Wonderland, we've gotten to know him very well. Fantastic guy. He gave us a lot of latitude when we did those books to work on the stories, and we had a good time with them.
You've done, how do I say? You've done quite a bit of the comics, and I know this is a novel format, the prose format. Are you considering turning Shanty Red into the comic?
Well, that was probably the original premise. Actually, I can say pretty much for sure that's where I was originally going with it. I think I had it outlined as a comic. I'm a bit of an outliner when I write. I like to have a direction to know where I'm going. So I probably had this. I think it was a 3-issue comic originally. But I thought there was a deeper story there to tell. So when the chance came that we had a prose project coming up, this was the book that I thought would convert the best. So how could it come back to a comic? Sure, if we get the response and we would have some kind of enthusiasm that someone would want to see it in comic book form, I would love to make it into a comic. So um, we'll see how it performs with Booktopia.
Yeah. But I'm absolutely right there with you. I need that outline. I have to write it in an outline form so I know the major points, and I'll fill in that middle bits as we go. Flesh it out. You know what I'm talking about. You know what it is. But yeah, when you said that you use the outline, I'm like, yeah, I live for the outlines.
That I love them. You know, I'm a plotter,
Mm-hmm.
and I start with the widest of strokes. It might be a paragraph that outlines the entire thing. That might move to a page.
Mm-hmm.
Might become what I want on each page, and it really does. It's a process for me that I develop it from single paragraph to finished script.
Yeah, this I do have to copy. So this one started off. This is just the preview, the one I sent out for the blurbs and everything to get people to read.
Sure.
This one was only, I think, 215 pages. The final is 357, 358 ish. So yeah, completely right with you. It's just I need the outline, and I need always fleshing things out like that. It's never done being edited until it's shipped out the door.
Yeah, I that's a writer that's at the boon and a bane, because yeah, I probably would never ever put out a book if someone didn't say, hey, you need to turn this in now, because wait, I can make it better. Give me a week. And so at times you just have to let them go. So.
Yep. What's this about blackmail at American Mythology? They said, we're excited to be publishing your new novel at American Anthology. The owner said something about blackmail. I didn't ask.
Oh, well, gee, I think that would be James chiming in. He loves to make sure that he puts the pressure on me every new project. So, there was an Amazing Spider-Man issue when I was talking about the flea markets and looking into each other's boxes. As we were skimming through the boxes, there was the oh boy, I'm going to catch heck on this, but what's the Death of Gwen Stacy Amazing Spider-Man one?
Oh, I don't know the number myself, so hey, I'm right with you.
Yeah, we were going through the boxes, and it was in my box. It was squarely in the box. But Jim was cross looking into the boxes, which is just poor etiquette when it comes to comic book hunting, right? And and then even worse, and he reached over and he took that Amazing Spider-Man from my box, and we had a big argument about it. Obviously, I ended up with the book, and I haven't heard the end of it. There it is. Look at that. I haven't heard the end of it for 40 years, I think. So, yeah, we'll bring that up into play often. So,
yeah,
I think that's probably the blackmail part that Jim's talking about.
So you've done, should we call it the lighter fare with, or the comedy side with the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, and so on, slapstick, right?
Sure.
I'm sure that is something I could not write. Okay, that's not near my wheelhouse. But when we were talking about Grail properties, thoughts on this one?
What am I looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm on the phone. I'm sorry. Ernest has a comic. Ernest P. Worrell. They have one coming out. and I can guarantee I'm getting it just because I love Ernest.
Sure.
I'd love to see your take on an Ernest book one day. And yeah. And if there was ever somebody that was going to play Ernest, it'd have to be John Cena. I mean, they look pretty much alike.
That's funny you said that, because yeah, I've seen that comparison before. John Cena as Ernest P. Worrell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ernest. Again, I'm a child of that era, and I've seen all the Ernest movies, probably. I don't know. I mean, there were quite a few of them. There might have been later titles that I missed, but all the major ones I think I've secured under my belt. It's like anything else, and I think it's the same with the Stooges.
Mm-hmm.
Even with horror, it's an interesting way to look at society. When you look at the world through the eyes of the Stooges, or when you look at it through a different colored lens through a horror property, or if you look at the world through the eyes of Ernest, I think that's what people respond to. It's something different.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm all for it. Get Ernest signed up, and I think I would love to work on something like that too. I'll get in line after you since you called dibs. But
Like I said, I don't feel I could do it justice, but I'm pretty sure you could. So,
well, I appreciate that.
but we are getting there. So you need what, one or two more to get there?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Pick up Shanty Red. Look at it on Booktopia. Let's talk about Booktopia. I mean, that's such
sure.
Where are they at now with totals? Like $400,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And 1,000 backers, something along those lines. I mean, that is a massive crowdfunding project. So, and 59 books, if I recognize on last count. I mean,
I believe you are correct.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt you. But yeah, it's a neat project. It's a neat what would they call it? Initiative.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Writing a book and being a writer or an author, for the most part, is a pretty solitary project.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to associate with a group of authors like they're doing here with Booktopia, and to share in the efforts, it's appreciated. I hope this is something that continues and takes off, and I definitely would like to do something like this again.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you it will continue because they've actually invited me to Tabletopia, which is because I make tabletop board games.
Right.
So I'm making one for them. It's supposed to be a small pocket-sized game coming out next year, I think March or something, early next year.
Okay.
So yeah, so they are going to keep doing these kind of things, and I think it's pretty cool because you get to pair up with, meet with, and talk to other people that you may probably would not have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me about, look, with Slaughterville, you've taken it to another level. I mean, when I say a novel can be immersive or a comic can be immersive, I mean you're creating worlds on top of worlds here. So I'm interested. Tell me a little bit more about your process behind that.
Sure. What I did was I started playing tabletop board games a good number of years ago, and probably close to 12 or 15 years now. And you have so many boxes of games, and I wanted one game that you could play pretty much every type of game, right? And that's where I came up with the board game for Slaughterville. It's you as the typical horror movie stereotypes, or even called that, like the hot chick, the nerd, the jock, the stoner. And you go around the game, you build the town of Slaughterville, and you try to find items, clues, and allies in order to defeat one of the different villains. Now, the villains are going to change up the way that the game plays.
Okay.
For instance, Dracula he's trying to stay hidden. So his is a seek and find kind of thing, where you're trying to find out where Dracula is located. The zombie horde is a shuffleboard style game where you're flicking a bullet at the zombies in order to see what you can hit. And then there's the slasher, which is book 2 for the Slaughterville thing, the slasher actually is just straight up trying to kill you. She stalks through the town and tries to murder you. All in good fun, you know.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how does the novel relate to the game?
Well, I took it from here into a role-playing game because I wanted, to give the users more ability to edit and control the world. And from there, the novel is actually, what would my story be? What happens when I'm playing the game? And so this is, and honestly, I've taken cards, the decks of cards for the game, and I was like, okay, I'm in the forest now. I'm going to flip 3 random cards, and I'm going to incorporate those cards somehow into this location, into this part of the chapter. For instance, and the characters are running through the woods, and then they're being chased by a werewolf, because what the beast within is the werewolf, and they run into a giant grove of trees filled with gossamer threads and nice sticky strands, and it's giant spiders. Because that's one of the cards that I grabbed when I was looking through the game and said, okay, we're doing giant spiders now. So we put them in.
So rather than live stream a video game, you've turned a novel into your from your tabletop.
Exactly. And we started off. Beth starts off with Beth and her sisters when they're kids. Their family just moved to Slaughterville because their dad got a job at the post office. They wanted to get out of the big city because they kept hearing gunfire and the things that happen in the big cities. And they were so happy to be there until in the woods, which they were warned never to go into by their Uncle Dave, the littlest sister Maddie gets killed. And they see the creature that did it, but nobody believes them. Of course, who's going to believe that a werewolf killed your sister, right?
Right.
It had to be an animal.
Dave, there's Uncle Dave.
Yeah. So yeah, now it's Carolyn, the older sister Carolyn, stayed back in town to try to find this thing. Beth is like, I'm out, and she left. But now Carolyn's gone missing in that same woods trying to find. And so Beth's being pulled back in to see, can you find your sister?
Very cool.
That's where it's at.
Very cool. Well, I know your project's doing well on Booktopia, as well it should, and you're garnering even more support because it's an awesome project.
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, we did this just for the S's and G's, the stuffs and giggles. Okay. You can actually call this number, and Chief Wallace will answer and say, he'll give you a message.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it really is experience. Read, tabletop, auditory, you name it, it's there.
Mm-hmm. And then for the backers, as they're watching the project and hopefully sharing these projects, both of them around, because we have this one here, they play a game. So you start off as this person here, and they get to make choices about what happens. The first one was, where are you going to go when you first get into town? Well, they picked the museum. Mm-hmm. So now what happens in the museum? They get to pick. Or they go, they're meeting a security guard who's not very friendly. Or are they going to sneak around the guard? Or are they going to try to talk to the manager? And then when they pick that, then that'll unlock the next thing and the next thing until we end. And of course, here's Shanty's card.
Nice.
That'll be handed out to everybody that backs both.
Yeah, I think we have a really strong cross participation. It's one of the strongest ones in Booktopia, if I saw it correctly. I want to say it's over 50%, isn't it? Something like that.
52%, I believe I read on the thing. It was. Yep.
Right.
Let me double check.
When I last looked, it was maybe number 4 as far as percentages with the projects.
Nice. See, so you're smarter about that than I am. I don't even know where to look for that.
Get up, Chris. You never know. Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah. But we also had our friend Lori. She offered to do custom covers, where you'll pick the book cloth cover, and then she'll put on these graphics, and she'll put it in either silver or black for you. But you can pick the cloth, and then you can pick silver or black for the wolf, the title, and the border, and it'll be a custom hardcover.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then we're giving these 2 promos away, Dante and Karen, which they're characters from when we used to play the RPG online. And so we're giving them away. But there's our different tiers: soft cover, hardcover, trifecta, and the custom hardcover. Stretch goals. We have the signature, the cover sticker, digital wallpaper. I want to get to. Oh, I have that one. I almost cursed. I don't. I try not to. Believe me, if we were not here, I curse often, but I try not to. But we have. I actually got in the keychains. That's the next stretch goal. So they're here. They're sitting. It's just we got to get there. I wanted them anyway, no matter what. And then we're gonna get a badge, it's just like an enamel badge. The real badges, the ones I would love to get. Don't get me wrong. The metal ones, like the official real badge, $156 a pop.
Yeah, that makes it a little tough. Yeah.
And then we're gonna do an audio book. And if we get to 5,500, no matter what the wife says, I'm getting the Slaughterville Crow tattoo. And then I'll give everybody a temporary tattoo because I can't, pay to go get everybody a tattoo.
That's what the pledge level name should be, regardless of what my wife says. Pledge level.
That would have been awesome. I should have done that. Dang it! You're much smarter than I am. No, that's just a vegetable. You don't want to see him. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, I've been making board games, comic books, writing books since 2005, and I teach, so it's easy for me to get on and talk to people like this. But yeah, so we have it here, and we have it because I know some people are not familiar with or as comfortable with backer kit, so we put it also over on Kickstarter. So if you'd rather go over there and get it, you can grab it there too.
Very smart. Crowdfunding is expanded and taken off in so many different ways.
Yeah, you could. I thought about putting it on Indiegogo too, but then I thought, I didn't want to spread it too thin, you know.
Yeah, we participated with American Mythology did with the Comictopia.
Yes,
I think that's what led us into Booktopia. When Jim in his wisdom said, "We should do this. Give me." But yeah, it was. But I had Shanty Red on the ready, so it was a good time. And actually, I haven't done a prose novel in a couple years, and so it was a lot of fun getting back into it. And I realized how much I miss it. So hopefully, I have one or two more planned up my sleeve in the not too distant future. So.
Oh, I have more than a little bit of faith in you. I know you're gonna have tons more coming. I have that. I can see that coming already just from meeting you. Now here's something about me. You're gonna realize I'm an idiot. I have, unfortunately, a nearly photographic memory, except for things like names.
Sure.
Your name is exceptionally unique, and I remember it. But it take even like best friends for years. It'll take me forever to remember your name. I'll call you something, but that's how I'll remember you. Now I remembered. How do you pronounce Jim's last name?
How do I do it, or how should you do it?
Either one.
You said you like to keep the show clean, so James Kahoric.
Okay. I knew that name. And I did not know he did Army of Darkness versus Reanimator.
He did, yeah. He did a lot of the Army of Darkness comics. James did a lot of those early books. Quite a number of them.
Yeah, something about his name. I'm like, I know it, and I'm not usually a person for names, but I knew that name, and it was bugging me because I've read those comics several times, and that is pretty awesome that you guys are doing all this. This is effing great. This is awesome. I got to meet you guys.
Yeah, a couple comic book nerds just having a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's like I said, as far as writing goes, it's really it's a dream come true for a writer to be able to work all of these fantastic properties. So no complaints here.
No. Can I get your honest, be brutal opinion on this video while we're here?
Slaughterville, where nightmares are real. Beth tried to forget, but the town won't let her. A sister's disappearance, a town's dark secrets. Who will believe her this time? A dangerous facade, horrors beneath, confronting dark magic and beings. The fight to unveil Slaughterville's true enemy. Will she expose the town's shifting reality? Monsters protecting secrets. Who will survive? Uncover the truth before it's too late. Slaughterville, The Beast Within by Christopher Brown.
So what do you think?
Oh, no, it's fantastic. Yeah, I can honestly say that if you are not associated partners in Booktopia, and I came across this and I saw just the premise in that video, it would be a book that I'd want to read. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate
it. And I mean, your narrator had a British accent, so you figured. I mean,
it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah. But so before we head out, because it's been almost an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Before we head out, is there anything else you'd want to leave them on? Anything you want to share?
Give Shanty Red a chance. We talked about it some. There's a lot. I think we tried to fill the page for on Backer Kit with Booktopia with a lot of fun information. We have some quotes. We have a synopsis. We have some fun videos. We have some information about the location that some of this was used as a basis for. Check out the page. Give it a chance. I really think you'll enjoy the book. It's a fast-paced mystery horror with a fun twist at the end. So it should be an entertaining read. And if there's one thing I try and do, if nothing else, is give someone their money's worth and give them an escape for a few hours with a fun story.
Yeah, not only can you get paperback, you can get hardcover, get digital, get all three. You can get that. Add in the Night of the Living Dead. Grab some Silent Night, Deadly Night, because I know you like horror anyway. If you're looking at this, it's done by somebody that's been in this for a while and knows what they're doing. There's no issue about the quality of this book. You'll enjoy it. Check out chapter 1 down below. You're just going to love it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Give it a chance, and I would appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that reads anything that I do. I think that's it's one of the greatest things as a writer is to be able to entertain folks. So if I do that, then I've done something worthwhile.
I know I've already backed it. So I mean, I know I'm getting one. So that's all there is to it. No matter what, I'm getting one.
But Chris and I met just a few weeks ago at a Comic-Con where we were able to talk a bit, and I got my advanced copy of Slaughterville, which I have started, but unfortunately I've been trying to finish up Shanty Red, but it's on my list, and the book's great, so you can't go wrong with Slaughterville either. Trust me.
I'll make sure you get the full page, the full copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty, bud. Where can they find you? We'll do all that. And then
you can always find me at my website, shcheck.com. I'm on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it is now.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it's always going to be that. Instagram, on all of those, shcheck. On the American Mythology page, You can find a lot of the works that I've been involved in, and yeah, that's me.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody stopping in, hanging out, doing what we do. And I guess until next time, we'll have fun.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
We'll see you, bud.
All right, take care, everyone.